Hello and welcome back to the Vassals of Kingsgrave Soccercast. We're currently halfway through the group stages of Euro 2020/21, and we're back to review the game so far, review our predictions, and talk about our favourite moments. Joining me in the commentary box today is Bing,
Hey, yep, this is Bing.
my partner in crime.
Yep.
We're gonna be getting into the nitty gritty of it so far. They've been coming thick and fast, so we'll do this hard and dirty in true VOC fashion. I guess the best place to start is at the start.
Yep.
Did you? I'm sure you did. Catch the opening game, Turkey versus Italy.
Yeah. Turkey are very, very disappointing.
I know we had them pegged to do to come second in that group.
Yeah, so I did point out. So think I remember from our preview cast, I did point out Turkey is a very volatile team, which means
Yes.
they can go both ways, and they evidently went the other way. Um, Yeah, but I think the more surprising thing is they just came out so passive. Like they weren't challenging anything. Italy sort of had imposed their will on them very easily, and they just sort of meekly surrendered.
I guess on the flip side of it, were Turkey awful or were Italy good? I mean, we got an answer to that in the. I guess let's talk about all the Group A games. We got
Yeah.
an answer to that in the Italy-Switzerland game. But I think it's the first time they've ever scored 3 goals in a single game in a European Championship, which sounds quite crazy, right, for such a good team.
Right, but I mean, historically, Italy has been usually a more defensive team.
Yeah,
And that's sort of their bread and butter. Whereas this team has something going forward, right?
yeah. Insigne, Mobile, they've got some real quality in midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, and Spinazzola has been a real standout performer from the back.
Right, which is now suddenly he is being linked with Real Madrid and all of that. I mean, like, this is a guy who flunked out of the Premier League, right, with Chelsea.
Yeah,
I don't know. So Italy, I want to see them against a team that's not as passive because both Turkey and Switzerland are teams that are notorious. That I mean, okay, so Turkey played really poorly. Switzerland notoriously has been passive throughout their history in a tournament,
yeah.
and it's a team that's clearly on a downward trajectory. Don't know how to score goals at all. Um, and suddenly it looks like Wales is the second best team in that group.
I know we wrote Wales off initially. I think both you and Bina put them down to finish bottom
I
in
mean,
that
yeah, I
group.
did. No, I mean, I would. That's true. But I mean, suddenly, I mean, I guess Aaron Ramsey rediscovered how to play football again.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think he's definitely a confidence player, and I think being in that squad and being revered as such a legend, whereas in Italy it's probably a bit like Aaron Who. Yeah. Scored a lovely goal, great assist from Bale.
yeah,
Two assists from Bale in that game.
yeah,
He's woken up as well.
yeah.
And I think, like you, I completely agree. I think that Wales Italy will be. I don't think they're going to be able to pull any punches, either team in that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, Wales is going into that game as clearly the second best team. But
Sure.
they already have 4 points. They already pretty much guaranteed to go through to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, barring what would it take, a
No,
Switzerland beating Turkey, I
I
suppose,
mean, even with Switzerland beating Turkey like by like a lot, they
as long
still
as they
have
don't
the
lose 3-0, right?
well, they also still have the third place.
Oh yeah, of course,
Right.
of course.
um,
These simple tournament rules.
yeah. Well, I mean, but I mean, I think so. So they're in the driving seat to go through pretty much. I mean, they're pretty much guaranteed to go through to the next round. I think 4 points. It's very hard for them not to be one of the best four third place teams out of six, right?
Yeah, they're pretty nailed on to go through. I think 4 points is a safe result going into that game against Italy.
Right. I think with Wales, it's just that I mean that is a spine that has played together and had success together in the last tournament. And I guess they're able to sort of just try to recover a lot of what they had. And they still
Yeah,
have that team more and you can't I guess you can't downplay the tournament know-how that they gathered from the last Euro. And I think Switzerland, it's both Switzerland and Turkey, they're the best players that's not just not showed up.
no, they haven't turned up at all. Switzerland were poor.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, Shaqiri is like somehow even worse. It's just gotten worse and worse over the years, even though this is it. I mean, he's what, 28, 29. This should be his prime. It's
I
just
know. know.
Granit Xhaka, I think this season is probably his worst season ever.
Maybe for country, for club, he's been pretty bog average
I guess,
throughout
yeah,
his career.
yeah.
His
And then
hair was very offensive to my eyes.
we'll talk about offensive hairs later when we get to England.
Well, you got anything more to say on Group A? I think we
No, it's
pretty
just
much
that
nailed it.
I want to see Italy against like a better team to gauge what they really are.
Absolutely.
Well, and I guess one more point that I think we should be. I think one thing that we didn't talk much about, and one thing that I ignored when I completely was the home field factor.
Mm,
The fact that Italy are playing at home, Netherlands are playing at home, all these sort of England is playing at home most of their tournament. It
it,
actually does factor a lot.
Italy are playing every game in
At home.
Rome in the
Yeah,
group stage.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a fair point to be honest with you. And then what winners of Group A are just looking at my wall chart. Winners of Group A play the second of Group C. That's the Netherlands, Austria, Ukraine, Macedonia. So we'll get to them in a bit. So yeah, moving on. I think yeah, we're Turkey first and Wales to follow up.
I mean,
Probably a
Italy
safe
first.
bet.
Italy first.
Yes, Italy, not Turkey. Sorry. So yeah, moving to Group B.
Right.
So
Do you have to talk about it?
well, we have to touch upon obviously Denmark versus Finland.
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen went down with a heart attack and very fortunately was brought back, and
Yeah.
he's making a good recovery as far as we can tell. So that's excellent news, and that's a Arsenal fan saying that about a Tottenham player. No
I mean,
one wants to see
yeah.
that, and it was a really horrible thing to happen, and you saw how shaken up everyone was on the Danish team. And I mean, I don't know. I guess the kind of the questions I wanted to ask you, mate, is do you think the game should have been stopped, postponed, and what?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
you can see how the Danish players they were not in it in the second half of that in that game. It's
no,
like Kasper Schmeichel making a very uncharacteristic mistake. Højbjerg just sort of taking a very very poor penalty, and generally just the players just playing shaken, right?
yeah, absolutely,
And they were sort of given an ultimatum of either play that afternoon or play the next day, and it's not much of a choice.
no,
And so with these sort of things, I think that the last time something like this happened was with Mark Vivian Foe in the Confederations Cup all the way back in 2003. And unfortunately, Foe did pass away in that incident. I don't know. It's such a horrible thing, but I feel like there needs to be some sort of protocol established for
absolutely.
something like this. It of course it's not something that happens a lot, but thankfully. But it does happen enough that I feel like something should be there should be contingency plans because I think
Yeah,
everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
the referee on the day and the people in charge, they need the support. They need
Mm.
someone. They need something to fall back on.
Yeah, and they
The
did a good
people.
job.
They did
Mm.
absolutely. But I think also the broadcasters are in a really tough
Yeah,
position.
right.
Like what was it? It was I think is it UEFA, ESPN, or whoever are like streaming it
ESPN.
around the world,
Yeah, so I
and
was
they're like
watching.
zooming in on the family, and it's like, ooh, oh god.
Right. So yeah, I was watching on ESPN, and to be fair, ESPN is just getting it from the global feed, right? So
Right.
it's not. I mean, they could have cut away. I think that would that should have been what I did. But they sort of just stuck there for like 10 minutes, and then with like cameras showing Christian Eriksen's girlfriend,
Mm,
close up of Christian Eriksen himself. That was the most like yikes. Like nobody needs to see that.
no.
And you see how the Danish players immediately reacted, right? By just like sort of closing around Christian Eriksen to prevent any possible anybody looking in. It's yeah no yeah no it's just so with something like that there just needs to be some sort of okay, so when there's something like this happens, this is what we do. And the UEFA FIFA officials whatever they need to then set a protocol. Okay, so in reaction to this is how we then deal with the match. Immediate suspension, of course, but then what do we do? How do we postpone this? It's otherwise you sort of you suddenly you have the referee having to make choices immediately on the spot, which is unfair to him. But like Taylor did a really good job to be fair to him. and then you left the Danish players and the Finnish players, and both sides
Mm.
were traumatized, right? This is not just a Danish thing. This was also like the Finnish players were also distraught visibly.
Yeah, of course. I think I forget the player's name, but when the Finnish player scored the goal, the winner, the only goal of the
Ali.
game, didn't really know how to take it.
Yeah,
Which is mad, So, Finland scoring a winning goal in a European match, a European Championship match.
their first ever.
Yeah, yeah. Under those circumstances, it's a tough one. Tough one. They need the support, and there should be some rules, and they've got contingency plans for terrorism and all sorts of things that don't happen often, and fingers crossed, God, doesn't happen ever. But they should have something for this. But anyway, let's get back on.
Yeah,
Let's get back on track. The next game in Group B was Belgium Russia.
yeah.
Absolutely came out flying. Belgium, not Russia. And just walked all over Russia. I think they managed one shot on target.
Russia is not in the same, and this is a weakened Belgium team, right? This is still they weren't playing. The De Bruyne wasn't in the team at that time.
Mm.
Witsel wasn't in the team. They subbed in Eden Hazard, and they still sort of walked Russia without any problem.
Yeah, and I mean Lukaku's on target. He's just so dominant. No wonder why he's had such a good season with Inter. But also, I always think Meunier looks so good for Belgium, but quite
Or
average. Yeah, poor
yeah,
for PSG.
and for Dortmund. Yeah, and he's coming off a really bad season for Dortmund. I think this. I mean, Meunier is a guy that okay. So against weaker opposition, Meunier is going to look fine. It's going to become a problem when Meunier has to face off against much better teams.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate, I guess. And so with what happened to Ericsson that day, of course, this didn't get the news. Timothy Castaigne also got a really horrible injury. So he's out of the
Mm.
tournament. So Meunier is now their starting right back for the rest of the tournament.
He's the Leicester player, Castagno, right?
Yeah, Castaigne he is out for the tournament.
Yeah, didn't he? Hasn't wasn't he out for most of the season for Leicester, like since Christmas?
Yeah, he was injured for quite a while too. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
poor. He's a top quality player, but yeah. So Meunier's got that. I feel like the system for Belgium just works so much better for him.
It works.
They
Yeah.
usually play three at the back, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-4-3 that when it clicks, it really clicks. As we can also see in the second game. But it's going to be tough when they go up against, let's say, France, because
Yeah. Well,
that's a lot of space on both wings that France, like a team like France, will be able to exploit.
yeah. Didn't go for them so well in the World Cup final.
Mhm.
I have absolutely nothing to say about Finland Russia. I didn't watch it.
There's not that much to say. It's one goal, pretty good goal, pretty good goal from Miranchuk, but
Yeah, and then Belgium through after beating Denmark
yeah, that was a really good game. I
um,
think that was the best game in the tournament.
in the tournament.
Yeah, yeah. But then
Okay,
I think that's the most even. And besides, well, not even really France Germany. I feel like this is the most evenly played game.
right.
Because
I
so in
mean,
so in that game, Denmark came out and really hungry. And they immediately got a goal. But then Belgium sort of weathered the Denmark's assault in the first half, and then came back out in the second half, and they subbed in Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, and that's just not fair. Yeah.
yeah, De Bruyne came off the bench and put them through.
Yeah.
We were expecting Belgium to be top.
Yep.
I think we were expecting Denmark to have done a little bit better.
Well, I mean, you can't really
Um,
account for what happened to Denmark.
yeah, of course, but yeah, two losses. It looks like that's it for them,
No,
unfortunately.
no, I think they're fine. Well, okay, so they're not fine, but they're not complete. They're not out of it. In fact, not by any
No,
close.
but they need to beat Russia well, and
I think they just need to beat Russia, period.
mm,
Because Russia and Denmark has the same goal differential. And Finland's at 0, but Finland's playing Belgium. And I think with one goal, if Finland loses just by one goal but it's either was it by one goal, I think it's 2-1 to Belgium or something like that. And Denmark, no, I think if Denmark wins by 2-1 and then Finland loses to Belgium, then Denmark are second. and it's so
Okay, so it's on.
yeah, so no, it's definitely still on, and I think Denmark is still the better team, even without Ericsson compared to Russia. They showed a lot against Belgium. If they can keep that up, and since that's still a big if, and they did, and Russia, I guess, going into that game can be a bit more can play defensive and try to lock down and try to don't really have much speed. So I don't know how well they can hit Denmark on a counter, but whatever. Um, but if Denmark can just win, and even if they don't reach enough of a goal differential to overtake Finland, I think they can probably still qualify as a third place team. Remember, that's a thing. That
Yeah, it's on. But I just think the 3 points might not make it for the third place. So yeah, I think they've got to rely on
well,
Belgium beating
Portugal made it
Belgium.
through with 3 points in the last tournament and they won it.
True, very true, very
Uh,
true. So yeah, moving on to Group C, we have Austria, North Macedonia, Netherlands, and the Ukraine.
oh, these teams.
Uh, s- Starting off with Austria versus North Macedonia, and
Austria.
some nice football from Austria.
Yeah,
Sabitzer looking like a real quality player.
right. But it was also against North Macedonia.
Yes,
So
granted. And when they came up against Holland
nah,
yesterday, was it? It was yeah, didn't put up much of a fight. North Macedonia, Pandev getting his first goal of a major tournament at the age of 75.
something like that. Pandev,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at his history, Pandev is a very good player. He won Champions League. He won the Scudetto in Serie A. He's not chopped liver, right?
No, no, he's not a bad player, but
Yeah,
obviously
he
with
is
North
37,
Macedonia, you
yes.
don't get
He's
takes
still
his
playing.
chance.
Yeah, he's still playing in this area for a reason. Like the guy, and you give him a chance, he will score. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like the rest of the team, like there are some really. I mean, I know people coming into this and don't know anything much about North Macedonia, which is fine. I barely know much. There are a few good players. There are a few good players in that side. It's just generally overall, it's just there's too many. There's not enough quality to compete.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some huge gaps in quality in that
yeah,
team.
right. I mean, they're not like being completely out. Like they're not coming in like Liechtenstein or anything and getting completely destroyed by teams, right? They're losing, but they're losing at decent like 3-1, 2-1. It's not terrible.
Yeah, they've scored in both of their games. Fair
Right.
play to it.
Mhm.
But I do fear for them against the Netherlands. I feel like it could be a bit of a rout.
Maybe not.
Because, as you say, Austria, and the Ukraine both beat them, and Ukraine are a decent side. I mean, let's talk about their game versus the Netherlands. I think so. You had Denmark, Belgium, but I think the Netherlands Ukraine game was the one I enjoyed the most. I think.
Well, I think it's more probably maybe more exciting game due to the fact that both sides were turned off
Yeah.
for a period of time. So it went kind of back and forth. I think the main problem is I don't think any of these teams in Group C are good.
No.
I, I
And
think all of them will be gone by the time we get to the round of 16. Definitely by quarterfinals.
yeah, I mean, whoever comes second in this group is going to play Italy, so that'll be.
They're definitely out.
And then where's the old winner? Third place. Winner plays a third place team, so might have a chance. You never know.
Third place team of which group? Netherlands versus.
Oh, DEF. So it could be one of the
If
big ones, but
if it's F, then they're I don't fancy
yeah,
looking at this.
bye bye.
And this is Germany. If it's Netherlands versus Germany, I don't know which team is worse. That's
I've
that encounter.
got a feeling it's more likely to be Hungary than Germany.
Well,
uh, We shall see. But yeah, sticking with Group C, yeah, late goal for the Dutch to seal it in that game. And I thought Dumfries looked great.
Vincent
Arsenal on the
Humphries.
lookout for a right back, and hell yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Dumfries he looked really good in both of those games. I'm not sure he's normally that good. And I would always
Just
be
when he puts on the orange.
well, I don't even know if it's always when he puts on the orange. I think it's just these two games specifically. Yeah, I would very highly caution against any team that sort of any like big team that's looking at this tournament to say, "Oh, Dumfries looks really good."
Well, I think it's also because anyone looks good compared to 3/4 of the team that we've got currently.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
I mean, I think he could be someone that gets snapped up by a big club this summer after the tournament. Definitely.
Probably. I
Um,
think that's a poor investment, but we'll see.
we shall see. But then the other surprise in this group has been Ukraine, actually. Specifically, Yarmolenko. West Ham's Yarmolenko has been pretty damn good, right?
He's always been kind of good for Ukraine. Well, so with Ukraine, the entire team seems to just actually have an on and off switch, in which
Yeah.
they look really good for like 20, 30 minutes, regardless of opposition, and then they sort of turn it off. Like against so the game against Netherlands, they went down 2-0, and then they just stormed back all of a sudden within like a few minutes, and then they concede again. But yeah, so Yarmolenko looked really good in that sort of interval when they were sort of suddenly surging. But then when they go back down, Yarmolenko also sort of, and I think that's a problem with Yarmolenko. Like he's capable of short periods of quality, but he's
Mm,
never like consistent enough, and that's his problem at West Ham, right? Why he hasn't been played that well for West Ham either.
no.
Like his form at West Ham is sketchy at best.
Yeah. I even
Back.
eyed him up for
Yarmolenko.
fantasy.
Was Yarmolenko even playing for West Ham at the end of the season? Oh yeah, he was. Okay. Um,
Yeah, but he's that forgettable.
but like yeah, and even against North Macedonia, like first half Ukraine looked dominant. Second half North Macedonia were better.
Well,
So
that sums it all up, doesn't it?
yeah,
So, obviously, we're putting the Dutch to top this group.
they're already through.
Well, yeah, but
And
who
I
you
don't.
thinking's going to come second?
I mean Ukraine already has 3 points, right?
So does Austria.
So does Austria. So yeah, they have to fight each other. I don't know. I feel like Austria is marginally better.
I'm going to back the
Okay.
Ukrainians for this one.
I mean, I
I
don't
think
feel
they'll go
very.
through. Austria could get the old third place.
Yeah, I don't feel very strongly about either of these teams, to be
No,
honest.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. But
Yeah,
we're
sure.
fast approaching the most exciting group of the tournament.
Is it?
Oh yeah, Group D. It's coming home. Where else to start but with England's triumph over Croatia?
1-0. Raheem Sterling.
Yep, Raheem stepped up. He broke his first goal in a big tournament, right, for England.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, starting him was
Don't sound too happy about it.
but so I think it's a good win. I don't think that England was particularly impressive.
I think we're the most impressive thing for me personally was how well we defended because
That's true.
there was a lot that could have gone wrong.
Right, I think so.
Um,
Southgate, controversially, right, started 2 right backs,
yeah,
which worked, I guess. His logic was Trippier is better defensively than both Shaw and Chilwell, and then I guess Chilwell isn't fit or something like that. And I guess
and James, right?
and James, right? Well, he started Walker over James.
Yeah,
Kyle Walker going forward was not very good. Uh,
woeful.
yeah,
You can
but
tell he's been playing centre back for a while.
right. But defensively, not bad.
Yeah,
Shut down Perisic, right?
yeah, he
Um,
did well. He did well defensively, but yeah, his passing was awful and had no attacking
mhm,
threat whatsoever.
no. And it,
Um,
and England kind of just cobbled together that goal against the run of play. Uh,
Well, I mean, it was created by a real surprise, Calvin Phillips, who had an outstanding game.
Calvin Phillips is good.
Um,
Calvin Phillips is good. People sleep on him.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Good season
Uh,
for Leeds, but yeah,
mm.
he's definitely slept on, and I wasn't expecting him to start, to be honest with you. Um,
So I think he's starting in place of Henderson, who normally would start. But I feel like maybe he may keep his place
I
at
mean, he
least.
definitely should.
Yeah. I mean Henderson brings other factors, other elements like leadership. Declan Rice has
Yeah.
to start, right? Declan Rice just has to start every single game. He's
He's
not.
he's a great shield in front of that back four. I slept on him. I underrated him, and he's
Uh,
obviously West Ham have had a sensational year, so he's been a big part of that. I'm sure.
Why not? So going into here, I expected so we didn't talk about sort of the exact team because the England brought to the tournament. I think like in the midfield, Declan Rice is pivotal. he is sort of the closest that England has to somebody like Conte. And in fact,
Yeah, an anchor.
right, and in fact, if you look at many other teams, like all the other favorites for the tournament across the tournament, Declan Rice is probably maybe second, third best. Conte obviously number one, but then you look at Germany. Germany doesn't really have anybody except for Kimmich, and Kimmich's playing right back.
Rodri's decent.
Rodri is good, decent, but doesn't. But I mean, Spain has other problems we'll talk about. Portugal has like William Carvalho. That's not at the same. That's not at the same level
No,
as
Moutinho even no, they're
no,
all too old for
no.
Portugal. But no, Rice is a great player.
Mhm.
He's could have a great tournament with England, and he should absolutely keep his place. I
Yeah,
feel like the Scotland game, Southgate's going to go for it
yeah.
in terms
Well,
of not rotating too much.
I think. Well, so I think he's so just. I think I got the news that Southgate is rotating the both fullbacks. He's switching out Walker and Trippier and replacing them with Shaw and James.
Okay, that's interesting.
Much more attacking.
I probably would have put Trippier on the right.
Right.
But because I mean, you got to remember the other behemoth in this group, who don't know if you heard, but there's a little game on tonight.
Yeah.
England versus Scotland,
Right.
and it's going to be very hard for me to not support Scotland because Kieran
Really?
Tierney is back.
Is he back? Is he actually back in the team?
I read it in the paper today, so
Okay.
unless newspapers lie, Bing.
So he's playing right back. So Tierney is playing right back, I guess.
Probably like left-sided centre back or something like that,
Uh,
with Robertson outside him. I don't know. Yeah, when you've got two world-class left backs, what do you do?
Nothing else across that team.
Yeah, I mean, so we're talking about Scotland. They lost 2-0 to the Czech Republic, and I
Yeah.
didn't watch the full game, but they looked good. I think they got a bit unlucky.
I mean,
They had some.
they looked okay in spurts. Problem is they have no offensive punch. I don't know why
Yeah,
they're stuck. They're starting London Dykes or Sykes or whatever his name is.
Bill
Lon-
Sykes.
no, so what it actually is his name.
I don't know. But
Lyndon Dykes. Sorry, Lyndon Dykes. I think he plays for QPR. I don't know why Che Adams isn't starting for them. He's clearly their best striker out of all of these
yeah,
other options that I'm looking at. Ryan Christie. Ryan Christie, is he even a striker? I mean, I guess he has to play striker because he's not. Scotland's playing 3-5, 3-5-2. I don't know. It's Scotland. They're okay in the, I guess, in the middle with McTominay and McGinn. And McGinn looked dangerous, kind of here and there.
yeah, he had his moments.
But like they it's just a very, I don't know, discombobulated. Is that a right word to describe this team?
Well, I mean, as you say, their two best attacking players are left backs.
Yeah.
It's you wouldn't really put it against him if he played one of them as a left winger because they really don't have anyone else.
Well, that's basically
And
what they have to do, right? They're playing the entire side.
well, yeah,
And they're asking a lot of Robertson because on the right they have nobody. They have that
yeah,
guy O'Donnell. He's not good. O'Donnell is just not good.
no,
He's not the level. I think when they swapped on Celtics James Forrest, that he look a little bit more better. They at least Forrest looked like he can run with the ball. So maybe they just need to switch out a few of these guys. Like some of these people just should not start. They're not at some of these guys are just not does not have the quality needed at this level.
yeah. I
And,
don't know if their squad has the quality.
no, and David Marshall, of course, that goal, man.
Oh, the halfway line goal.
Patrick Sheik.
I know, it was ridiculous. I found the funniest part of it was the Scottish commentator on BBC over here
Yeah.
playing it down as if it was like an open goal tap in. He was like, oh, just caught it right. It was fine,
Yeah,
cheeky attempt.
yeah. Like see you score from from halfway half yard
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, curl it round the keeper from 50 yards. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like
But
Czech Republic. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I feel like Czech Republic. I did say that they were pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't believe you, and I was proven wrong.
They have quality. I mean, I don't think they're like they're dark horse or anything like that. But I feel like they today. So in just the 20 minutes they're gonna play Croatia. It's probably a draw, but I think Czech Republic I favor them a little bit more even.
Croatia were very toothless. I mean, I don't know how much of that, how well England defended versus how poor Croatia were, but yeah, I had Czech Republic in the sort of Ukraine bracket of quality teams, but they're probably more in the sort of Wales Denmark quality bag.
It's
I
definitely
think they could be a surprise second place and prove a tricky team in the knockouts.
they have quality. I think across the spinal team, which is important. Like with Scotland, they just have quality on a few positions, and
Yeah.
then like almost nothing needed at this level in a lot of other places. Scotland's almost like a North Macedonia. Let's be honest. They're not that far off from North Macedonia in that regard.
I mean, North Macedonia, at least they scored, right?
But
Well,
like,
we'll see. I think Scotland, they've got a lot of heart and passion,
yeah, they want to
and
at England, so we'll see.
I was in town yesterday and I saw at Victoria Station just dozens and dozens of Scottish fans all dressed in kilts. So, because they're all down for the game and there's going to be a lot of noise, and they're really up for it. So you never know. And it's a derby effectively.
Yeah,
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think they could get a point off England tonight. Scotland. I
I
think I
think
could see a 1-1 or a 2-2.
I think England's going to win 3-0, 4-0, maybe.
We'll see. We'll see. They could leave that. That's the problem. They could leave themselves exposed if they try and go for it, Scotland. But
Yeah. I
but
don't.
we'll
I think,
see.
I think. I think even if they sit back, they're not going to. England is just going to. We'll see. England has to show up, and they have a lot of
Yeah.
incentive to show up. And if they don't show up, Scotland, just out of the sheer occasion of this thing, could do something. But on paper, Scotland is nowhere near the level of England.
No, 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 no. Of course not. I think definitely in the first game for England, they were. I mean, they'd never won the
Yeah,
opening game
they
of
were
a
much more
European
they
Championship.
were much more cagey. I don't know. So it depends on whether England wants to just come out and just take Scotland out. I think England easily has to have the players who can just completely unlock Scotland, and just turn them just turn them around. I don't know if they're going to start Sterling again today. Or they're going to start Foden. I mean, Foden is definitely a player who had flashes of really really high quality against Croatia. And
Yeah, definitely. He had some beautiful touches.
his hair is absolutely offensive to my eyes.
Him and Granit Xhaka lost a bet or something.
I don't know. I think the bad part is they actually wanted to look like that. Um,
Yeah, well, Foden's trying to do a Gaza, isn't he?
Something like
Full
that.
Gascoigne.
Yeah. But again, England has, and if you even look at their bench, England has Grealish on their bench. They have yeah, Bellingham, who looked really really good when he came off with that short period of time against Croatia.
Yeah, yeah. There's a bit of a headache for Gareth Southgate, in terms of rotation. I feel like he's just gonna go for it in this game and rest. It's gonna be maybe 8, 9, 10 changes in the final game. I think
Maybe.
he's gonna
Yeah.
want the win here and
Yeah.
then to rest a few players.
Yeah.
Let use the full extent of his squad. We'll see that from a few teams. Dead rubbers. Netherlands and Belgium have won both theirs. Italy.
Yeah.
So I think you will see a lot of changes in those teams. But yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows? He is a bit of a wild card manager. I think he could just do something rogue. Personally, I'd love to see Saka get a start. If he's worried about players at left back, give him a go. Why not? Why not? But yeah, so I think our predictions: England first and the Czechs to come second. Probably the only group we're not going to change anything on.
I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, yeah. Scotland for a cheeky third place. Could
But we'll
be,
see.
could be. We will see. Moving into what is easily the most boring group of the tournament, Group
God,
E.
the Sweden
Um,
Slovakia, the Sweden Slovakia game that we just watched hurt my eyes.
Jesus, oh. you know, I've seen more exciting tins of paint dry than that Sweden team. Spain are good at passing the ball, not good at anything else, it seems.
85% possession in their first game versus Sweden.
Yeah,
85 to 15. I don't know when was the last time I saw something like that stupid.
it's just ridiculous. Sweden play, they had much more of the ball today against Slovakia, but it was dull as dishwater.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I got this. I got my jab this morning, my first jab, and it
Congratulations.
was hard to stay awake
I
in
was
that game.
I had something else open on the side.
Yeah,
I was more
yeah.
interested in that than whatever the hell Sweden and Slovakia were doing. I mean, Sweden. Okay, I mean, this is how they got to the quarterfinals in the World Cup by just sort of manufacturing goals out of the most just manufacturing goals. Let's just put it that way, and otherwise playing incredibly tight, very very traditional 4-4-2, boring as heck. Works in international tournaments. What can I say? Spain didn't score. That was their goal from the start. They had zero interest attacking Spain. The only player that showed any sort of any care to offense, was Alexander Isak, who's their only flair player, and he sticks out in their team like a sore thumb because no other player has shown any interest in scoring goals.
Absolutely not. I mean, they're playing 75-year-old Seb Larson.
Yeah, and Marcus Berg.
Yeah, they struggle for creativity. They relied on his set pieces a lot in the last
Yep.
tournament, I believe.
Yep, and they scored on a penalty today. Apparently, first goal in
Yeah.
4 to 6 competitive matches somewhere, something stupid like that. They have 4 points.
I mean, they've got 4 points and 2 clean sheets.
Yeah,
I was eyeing up Forsberg for fantasy this week, but
oh, he scored a penalty today. Apparently,
he did.
scoring penalties are very hard in this tournament. Apparently,
Yeah,
so
what is that about?
I don't know. I think a lot. I don't know. I mean, Højbjerg, his miss was. You understand why? That was against. That was the Finland game. Okay, leave that out. Bale, I think he just scuffed it for some reason.
Yeah.
Um,
Alioski, even though he scored the
he
rebound.
did score on a rebound. And who else had a penalty? The Ukrainian. Oh yeah, Malinowski. That game was 2 missed penalties.
Depay scored one, and now Forsberg.
Yeah, and Ronaldo.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, we'll get to Sebron. We'll get to the.
Mhm.
I can feel my eyelids drooping already. Just reminiscing on that Sweden-Slovakia game.
Yeah.
Much more to say. I think. Well, we haven't spoken about Poland, who I feel like I did predict this, but
Yeah, you did. Fair to you.
incredibly boring and bad.
I don't know.
Despite, I think Zielinski looked good.
Zelensky looked good, but the problem is, wasn't the guy who sort of when they went in the World Cup they lost to Senegal despite due to like somebody in the midfield sort of conceding possession and just letting them have like a 50-yard breakaway or something stupid like that. Wasn't that quite Kowiak again as well? And maybe they just shouldn't play him. This
It
guy
could have been
this guy just apparently self-destructs in the top level. Like
a real
Poland,
liability.
yeah, like Poland, like they went down against Slovakia somehow, managed to get a goal back, and then Krakowiak got a stupid red card, and then Slovakia scored again. Like Poland just, I don't know, yeah.
I'm just having a look at the Chesney goal again. The own goal.
That's not fair to him, right? I mean, okay, it is in the fact that the goal is attributed to him as an own goal is not fair, but he got beat really badly in his near post.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and
Bit
Chesney,
embarrassing.
he's another guy who sort of doesn't show up in big tournaments.
I would
Despite
have gone with Fabianski personally. It's a mistake Arsenal made years ago.
Chesney,
He actually no. Chesney was better for us than Fabianski, but Fabianski is now a quality keeper.
Fabianski has always been the quality keeper. I think Arsenal fans just remember his like few gaffes a bit too fondly.
Mate, I mean, there was a reason we called him Flappy Ansky.
Sure, but like I mean, but like all goalies sort of make big mistakes. If for some reason they just sort of get amplified at Arsenal, whereas for West Ham he has consistently been good to great.
Yeah, he needed a fresh start, absolutely, and
Yeah.
he's gotten it, and he's had a couple of really good seasons for West Ham.
And like Chesney,
Um,
he's been starting at Juventus, been generally played well for Juventus. It's just that for some reason when he plays for Poland is and just playing for Poland at this stage, it just doesn't show up. I don't know.
no, no, it seems to be something that a lot of the Polish players share. But so I had Slovakia could be a dark horse to make it out of the group, but obviously Sweden.
I mean, I guess at this point
That
they are have a pretty good chance.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, who knows? As much as we've ripped Poland, I have no faith in this Spain team to do anything except pass the ball nicely.
Alvaro Morata.
Yeah, I don't know. This Spain team has been a bit of a letdown, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We had Spain to top, Sweden for second. I think
Like that, yeah.
kind of got to be Sweden for the win now, maybe.
Well, it depends on what Spain do against. Spain has to show so much more against Poland tomorrow. They're playing tomorrow, right? Yeah. No. Yeah, they're playing tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Spain has to show much more. Like Morata cannot start. I think Luis Enrique is going to stick with Morata, but I think that's a mistake. Jar Moreno has to start, and that's a much
I
more informed
mean,
striker who has just won the Europa the Europa Cup with Villarreal.
I mean, I would have, if I was running the Spanish national team, I'd have got in Unai Emery for this tournament. I reckon he would have done a masterclass. You heard it here first. He'll get the job one day, the Spanish job,
I don't like that.
after his seventh Europa League.
I don't know. This is
Well,
yeah.
let's leave this group in the dust where it belongs, with the cobwebs behind the bookshelf. And look at Group F, the arguably the group of death, the most exciting group, with Portugal, France, Germany, and Hungary.
Yeah.
I mean, where else to start but with Hungary, Portugal?
Sure. Hungary played okay. They
Yeah,
kept
they held it
Portugal.
on. The scoreline is unfair, I feel,
Yeah.
to Hungary.
I think unfortunately they sort of when they conceded that penalty, they sort of lost a lot of confidence and stopped playing. And then just quickly conceded two more. It wasn't and unfortunately that really sets them back. I don't they are at home somehow. I don't know why Budapest has suddenly become UEFA's favorite city, despite the fact that Hungary is run by a right wing dictator. I guess that's why.
Well, I've heard good things about Budapest. Cheap beer,
It's a nice city,
beautiful
but
architecture. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I feel like we've got a shout out to Lezuzius, who was
yes,
at the game,
yeah.
uh,
Okay.
who's just joined the forum. Hopefully, he'll join us for the next soccer cast. But
Meant no
yeah, I
offense,
was so.
meant no offense to your city. Just don't really like your government. Um,
But I was very jealous when he sent a picture of being at the game, and just reminded
yeah.
me how much I miss, being able to go out there in the atmosphere and everything. So sounded like he had a great day, but ultimately the man, the myth, the absolute machine that is C-Ron 7. I mean, just what can I say? He was always going to break the record with a penalty at some point or something. But I think his second goal just kind of summed up what he's all about.
It's a good finisher.
Quick feet, great finisher, strong, and I mean, yeah, he doesn't run he doesn't run about much anymore, but he doesn't need to.
Well, so that has been why I was pretty down on Ronaldo. And to be and like I sort of still stick by to some of that. I understand what he has to start. He has to start. Whatever.
Yeah,
If he's starting though, I don't know if Jota should be starting with him because they sort of clash. I
they
think
do. They
I think
do. He
Jota
always wants to drift centrally,
yeah
naturally, and that's where Jota plays best.
yeah
I think that's, yeah, you're right there.
I don't know. I feel like Joao Felix should start, but then I guess I don't know. Maybe for some reason the coach doesn't trust Joao Felix.
Mm.
They put on
Guerrero looked good on their right hand side.
Yeah, Guro has a very had a very good season for Dortmund. He's a key player.
Yeah.
I feel like Semedo actually was pretty good too.
Yeah, he had a decent game too. I think he got an assist for one of the goals.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll break that record? I can't remember the player's name, the one who scored the
Ali
most.
Daei. I
Yeah,
don't know if Ali Daei for Iran. Yeah, I don't know if is going to happen at this tournament. He probably will eventually because he's not going to stop playing.
yeah, he'll be going on for a while.
Yeah.
Because there'll be someone to pay him shit tons of money just to stand in the box and score goals, which is
I mean, he
yeah,
does that.
what
He does that consistently,
he's an absolute machine.
even though he doesn't really do that much else for your team anymore.
No, he certainly doesn't defend.
No. Yeah, I guess no, I think Portugal was we'll see how they do against France.
Yeah, well, they've got Germany first, right?
You want Germany first? Okay.
Yeah, it's France,
That one's
Hungary
yeah,
tomorrow, and Germany, Portugal.
that one's sort of interesting. We'll see about that.
I've got a feeling Portugal will boss Germany.
Should we talk about that game? Finally?
France, Germany, or
France,
the
Germany.
potential? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about Germany. Let's talk about France. I thought much the same that the Portugal Hungary score was flattering to Portugal. I mean, France could have put five past them.
I think Bina mentioned that France doesn't look as exciting as they should. They're never going to play like all out offensive like you want. This is what they do. Right? This is what they did in the last World Cup.
Yeah,
They play defensively, shut teams down, and then hit teams on a counter because Mbappe is basically it's basically impossible to defend on a counter.
yeah. He's got little lightning bolts in his shoes. Crazy fast, but
And unlike every other
yeah.
team, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say it's like they've swapped places with Italy. You know, they're just grinding out they'll grind out results, whereas Italy are banging in these goals with somehow.
Yeah.
But
Unlike every other team in this tournament, France has N'Golo Kante, and like
yeah,
N'Golo Kante can do things that just no other player can do. He plays basically two midfield positions all in one person. He plays the shutdown defender and he plays the shuttler. Um,
he's world class.
yeah, I mean,
Absolutely, probably the best in his world in the best in the world in that position.
probably
And
best
Pogba had a
player.
great game too.
Yeah, well, because when Conte does what he does, he frees up Pogba to
Mm,
just basically roam. And when Pogba is roaming, that's really, really dangerous. Pogba is like he's giant. He has these long legs that basically cut off all your channels of passing. And when he gets into the attack, it becomes really really dangerous because Pogba, whatever his like when you look at him playing for Manchester United, he looks ponderous at times. Doesn't seem to be that
mm,
interested. Because even despite the fact that Manchester United have like world class players in midfield, it's not N'Golo Kante.
no.
And like the fact that France has the luxury, N'Golo Kante eliminates the holes in your team. Because otherwise, I don't think that in terms of central defenders, France is really very good central defenders, but they're not unbeatable. Like Rafael Varane had shaky moments for Real Madrid. And who else did they start with Varane? I guess Kimpembe, who's even shakier. But it doesn't matter if they have Conte. You're not even getting close. Like when
Yeah,
Germany they didn't have that many, almost didn't have any chances. And I
yeah,
feel
he
like,
gives you that extra confidence, I
yeah,
suppose. That layer of security.
it's just
Yeah,
impossible.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Okay, it's just impossible to give past him. You have to hit long balls over him. You literally cannot build from your midfield and try to pass your way like in the like and try to build something up from you just have to hit long balls, and that limits your offensive capability by so much. You just sort of have to
Absolutely.
hope for long balls and maybe you can nick something off either of the defenders, because otherwise the central midfield just completely shut off. We can't do anything against him. Tony Kroos.
Yeah.
Did Tony Kroos do anything in that game?
Oh, I have no idea. He's very forgettable.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole Germany team. I think Serge Gnabry. They played him through the middle, didn't they? Tried to do a
he did.
false nine or something.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No, he is
Um,
so devastating in the channels.
yeah,
Um,
I think yeah that formation negated. Jurgen Low is just I don't know.
He's done. They should have gotten rid of him before this tournament.
Yeah. He's
But
gone
I
after
think
this tournament, but yeah.
yeah, it's his last go, but I mean, they're going to be very glad to see the back of him. It has been a very stale period in German football. For the abundance of quality that they have in that team,
Yeah. But
you know,
like
I mean, as I said before, when they play Hungary, Hungary should fancy themselves. They've got a few dangerous players.
maybe I mean I feel like Germany didn't even play that bad. I mean I feel like that they like Jurgi Low made a bunch of really weird tactical decisions that didn't work. But like even so, I didn't feel like they played that bad. They just can't do anything
Well,
against. They just can't
they
do
were
anything against
controlled.
France. They just
Yeah,
can't do anything against France. I don't know, and I don't know if any team in this tournament can do anything against France. The closest it gets, I think, is actually England. England could maybe
yeah.
match France for speed.
England or Belgium.
I don't think Belgium can do it either. Belgium doesn't have the just again. If Conte shuts down De Bruyne, what are you going to do? Conte shut down De
True.
Bruyne I mean, okay, it's not fair. De Bruyne got injured in the Champions League final, but Belgium have very obvious weaknesses. France doesn't, or their weaknesses get covered up by N'Golo Conte. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we all said. So me and Bina said France is the favorite. Is the I don't see any reason why France after one game, admittedly, but I don't see any reason why anybody would change their mind that France is going to win this tournament.
Yeah, we I think two of us put Germany to be the big flop of the tournament. I can't remember who said Holland were,
I mean,
but
I was downcast on Holland, so blame me, I guess.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you had France to win, Bina had Portugal, I had England,
Yeah.
unashamedly. I think France is still looking the favourites. You know, they've got a straightforward game against Hungary tomorrow, seemingly. The big test will be Portugal, and then beyond. You know, it's not an easy run.
No.
You know, they could play England very early, depending on how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We had France and Portugal to go through from this group. I don't think that's going to change. So just looking back at some of our predictions that we had, the dark horse of the tournament, we had Turkey and Denmark, and I feel like both couldn't be more wrong.
Look, Denmark again.
Yeah, they were hit with something completely that would knock anyone for six.
Yeah. And I still feel like Denmark could still do things in
They
this
could
tournament.
get through. They could get through, but I guess I mean we're not surprised that Italy make it out the group, but they've definitely been the surprise for me and
I think
could
they
be a dark horse to take the tournament.
maybe,
But
yeah.
again,
I think they definitely played better than what I had just predicted a lot. I mean, I don't think I think I predicted them to go through anyway, regardless.
yeah,
We'll see again. We'll see how Italy matches up against better opposition.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. So yeah, you've not joined the fantasy team, have you?
I
The
hate fantasy.
league.
Look, I didn't want to say anything, but I hate fantasy sports. You guys have fun. Yeah, it's not for me.
All right, no worries. Well, for all of our listeners out there, you are more than welcome to join our fantasy league if you've made a team. Get involved. There's a link on the Discord. But I think that's it. That's our hard and dirty roundup of sort of the mid-group stage review.
Yeah.
We're about roughly halfway through, I'd say.
Yep.
Probably
Uh,
slightly over.
yeah.
Yeah, slightly over.
Mhm.
Some good games still to look forward to. Obviously, England Scotland tonight is going to be fiery. But there's still France Portugal. I think will be the headline
I think
game
Germany.
still to play.
I think Germany and Portugal could also maybe may even be more interesting.
Could be good. Yeah, catch that tomorrow. And there's also I think Wales Italy could be a good game. That'll be
Maybe.
early next week.
Mhm.
So that'll be one to look forward to. Come on, the boyos. See if they can get somewhere in this tournament. But yeah, I haven't got any. If you were hoping for some more chance today, I'm sorry to let you down. Had a bit of a crazy week, and I haven't had a chance to put any more songs together for some Vox songs.
We'll wait
Don't
for.
suppose you've got any Bing?
Yeah, that's not my game. Mm.
Don't wanna embarrass me with your lovely singing voice.
Don't want to embarrass myself.
Well, yeah. So I think we'll leave it there. Are you going to
Yep.
be watching the England-Scotland game tonight?
I'm watching the Czech Republic Croatia game right now. So
I've got my little cheat sheet up on my laptop, but I will go
yeah.
get that on shortly. But yeah, fingers crossed, good game tonight. Again, could be hard to turn my back on Kieran Tierney, but you never know if Saka starts.
Let's see.
We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, thanks for joining me
Yeah. Thank you.
on this, the midway through, and yeah, let's get something booked in soon. Thanks for listening and sticking around, and hope you guys enjoy the football, and it's coming home, guys.
Bye.
All right.
All right.
All right, mate. Take care. See you
Yep.
soon.
See you soon. We'll keep chatting in that form, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can hear me crying with the Tierney hat trick.
Let's see.
Yeah. All right, mate. Speak soon. See ya.
Bye.